What's up, everyone? This is your boy Fable, welcoming you all to another video of Down the Hangout FM. I'm glad we're all here talking about something related to pop culture once again. For a couple weeks, I was trying to think about what should I talk about. Then I had to think about past video essays on this channel. I talked a lot about Disney and a lot about Marvel, and I know you guys have been saying,
I've had enough!
So I thought about what I love and haven't talked about, and that was...
Ooh, video games. We could play video games.
The thing about me, if you already didn't know, is that I love me some video games. And my two favorite video game series of all time is Kingdom Hearts and the Uncharted series. But down the line, I will make video essays to those series. Most likely I will do one of Kingdom Hearts this year. When? I don't know. However, I kept asking myself, what video game should I talk about? Then I thought about Little Blue Mammal, who has a movie that's been out for a month now, or depending when you're watching this video essay. And the good thing about this little mammal, he's probably one of the most iconic video game characters of all time, and that is Sonic. And the great thing about Sonic, he has a lot of video games.
Some good, some bad.
But which one? Well, to make things not predictable, let's go back in time and let's say early 2000s, and to be more precise, let's say 2005. And a special Sonic game came out that year. Shadow the Hedgehog.
Why him?
That's simple, because he's in Sonic 3. I wanted to say the actual Sonic games for down the line and for future Sonic movies. But yes, in this special video of me talking about a video game for the first time, I'll be talking about Shadow the Hedgehog and see if it's one of the best Sonic games of all time or just a plunder of a mess. Before I get into the anti-hero himself, can you all like, subscribe, and comment? So without further ado, let's get into this old road of nostalgia. So a little backstory here. When I was a kid, I grew up being a big fan of Sonic. I had 3 Sonic games growing up. Sonic 2 on the Sega Genesis, the first video game I ever played along with NBA Jam.
Boom, Laka.
Sonic Heroes and Sonic Riders.
It's hard as hell.
But the game that grabbed Little Fable's attention was Shadow the Hedgehog, in Shadow's first standalone game. Our Cartoon Network, the commercial played, and I was hooked seeing an edgy version of Sonic. We all know as Shadow taking out aliens, and was seeing that Shadow killed Sonic.
Oh shit.
Seeing this commercial, I had a whole theory going through my head. Shadow was a clone of Sonic and wanted to kill Sonic, along with assassinating the President of the United States. And what made me think of all this was that Shadow had a gun. Seeing a Sonic character with a gun had every young boy wanting to get this game. However, playing this game 20 years later,
I was wrong. I was immediately wrong.
and the reason why I didn't get this game, because, well, there was 2 reasons. One, I thought Shadow the Hedgehog was going to be on GameCube because sometimes Sonic games back then were only exclusive to GameCube. And 2, I couldn't play games where the main character had a gun. But 20 years later, I'm here to present you the game I've always wanted to have. I was excited to play this game because I haven't played a Sonic game since my Wii days. And that game that I played was Sonic Unleashed.
Brother,
Hey, I didn't say I liked it, but hopping back in the world of Sonic, it felt good for like 15 minutes. I didn't like this game. I thought I would. I was thinking, hey, my 8-year-old self would love this game. But yeah, there were some parts I did like, there were some parts I didn't like. From the gameplay, the enemy types, its cringy tone, the game was trying so hard to be dark and edgy.
Why?
Because Shadow is a dark and mischievous character that doesn't remember his past. Remember y'all, this game came out in the early 2000s, and there are a lot of things that were trying to do this at the time. And I'm surprised they didn't play an Everlasting song in the background. I think that's how you pronounce that name. Somebody in the comment section tell me how to pronounce the name of that band. But the biggest reason for me disliking this game was the frustrating gameplay. But I'll discuss that in the next topic. But if I was to rank this game, I'd be kind and give it a solid 5 Nights at Freddy's out of 10. But on to why this gameplay is tragic. Sometimes what makes or breaks a game is the gameplay. If your story isn't good, but the gameplay is great, then it could carry the game to a time of great leisure. But if the gameplay sucks, those repeat hours of playing are going to be low. Shadow the Hedgehog had me revisit it less and less and less as the month went on. The biggest thing that dragged this game was actually playing Shadow himself. See, in a typical Sonic fashion, you're always going to play a character.
He's really fast.
But Shadow goes too damn fast. When I first started playing the game, I thought I was doing something wrong. When I was running, I kept bumping into things, falling off ledges, trying to get a group of rings, and missing them, running straight into the enemy, and dying. I had to slow down just to make it easy for me to navigate through the game, which I felt took away the purpose of the gameplay. But I was keeping an optimistic view of the game where I completely forgot you can drive in this game.
I call shotgun shotgun!
I don't know why, but I love driving in video games. I guess I get to run over people without feeling guilty.
This motherfucker's crazy, man.
The parts I played in the game, I got to drive 2 vehicles, a motorcycle and a Jeep. And well, to put it simply,
Sucked.
driving was pointless in the game. I truly don't know why they added it. If you really think about it, Shadow goes faster than any of the vehicles that you drive in. So when I came across the vehicles, I was thinking to myself, should I drive the silly missing? Or should I just Tom Cruise through the whole level? I was indecisive when this happened, but I went with the smartest choice.
I ran.
Running was more convenient than getting into the car or a motorcycle and crashing into some soldiers or some aliens.
Disgusting black creatures. Get out of my sight.
And we'll talk about those aliens later on. Just you wait, just you wait. To me, it was pointless to put a mode of transportation in this game. Then the developers added a delightful treat.
Guns. Lots of guns.
I'm not one of those gamers who think that every main character in the game needs a gun, but in this game, any weapon of choice is better than Shadow just going head on to an enemy and trying to fight them. In every Sonic game, or most Sonic games, you always run fast and turn to a ball to hit your enemy, which you do in Shadow the Hedgehog. But doing this will get you killed. I curved into a ball into so many different enemies, but majority of the time, I hit an enemy too soon or too late, where I was thrown back and lose my rings. This got old and annoying fast. For the rest of the game, I would just use my gun on the soldiers or on the aliens. Although there were times where I had to use that curveball special to take down a boss. On the plus side, using a gun was one of the upsides to playing this game. And it slightly made it more enjoyable. Slightly.
Only slightly.
In this game, there are 3 kinds of enemies that you fight. Soldiers from gun, bosses, and the black aliens.
Disgusting black creatures.
Now, one of the more tedious parts of the game,
Fighting their many enemies along the way.
I spent majority of this game just avoiding the enemy completely and just hitting them to steal their guns. But depending on what level I was playing, sometimes I was forced to fight the enemy in order to pass the level. Now, the interesting and the positive thing I can say about this game that it gives you a morality system, which I will dive into later. But these enemy types have annoying features. So if I'm trying to be a good guy and help out the gun soldiers fight off the
black creatures,
and I do get that support,
Only for a few seconds.
these are the most backstabbing AIs I've ever played with. One minute they're shooting at the
black creatures,
then the next they see you and just start unloading on Shadow. I guess because Shadow is black and they just want to eliminate anything that reminds them of the black aliens. And while we're on that subject of the black aliens, I never thought I'd use this meme in a Sonic game, but they use that word black aliens a lot. It's egregious how many times the characters say black aliens. It comes to a point they say it so many times, I thought they were talking about me. Let's hear them say the words, shall we?
Hey, that vehicle looks pretty darn tough. Try using it to run down those black creatures. I don't know who or what these black creatures are, but we can't let them get away with this.
Don't talk to me like that.
It's like, damn, the developers couldn't come with a name for these species of aliens? And the big bad alien is named Black Doom. I mean, that's sort of badass. But there's another alien called Black Bull. We'll get to that one later, people. But aside from the racist names of the aliens, they're just basic enemies that just shoot you or hit you. Like the soldiers from Gun, you have various aliens that do something special. But going to more pressing matters, let's talk about the real enemy types that stand out. The bosses. In a Sonic game, you always expect Eggman to be the boss at the end of every stage.
Not here.
For me not finishing the 3rd story in the game, because there are like over 300 different stories that you can play, and I only faced 4 bosses. 4 of those bosses were Black Bull.
Really? That's his name?
I know that name is kind of out there. I mean, I don't think you could give an alien that name. That's the name you give me if I was a porn star. Egg Breaker, Egg Dealer, and Sonic teaming up with Diablon. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce his name, but I'm gonna call him that. Let me start with Black Bull. In my eyes, he kind of looks like the Coco Demon from Doom. You can't tell me these developers had some inspiration from Doom, especially with the soundtrack and the themes going on. Black Bull is one of the first bosses you find in the game, and he's fairly easy. All you really have to do is turn into a ball, hit him, hit the bats, and then hit him. Sonic and Diablon fight was an irritating one. In this fight, you're battling two things, Sonic and his big homie in a mech suit.
Who the fuck is that?
Honestly, I don't know what it was, but for some reason this big robot kinda looks like Soundwave from Transformers. But in this boss battle, you have to hit the top of Diablon's head, or Diablon, in order to take him down, while also waiting for Diablon's shield to go down so you can hit him and also hit Sonic, who's cock-blocking during the entire fight. The one I found to be easy was the Egg Breaker, probably because what I did was just instead of fighting him head on, I just turned to a ball that kept hitting him. Every few seconds of the boss battle, I would fight Eggman's minions, but I just curled up and bang up against his head. Easiest boss in the game. Unfortunately, they all can't be that easy, because the hardest boss that I dealt with was the Egg Dealer.
I can't stand him!
If there was ever a point in the game where I just wanted to absolutely quit and skip to the next mission, it was here. I did not enjoy Egg Dealer at all. So in the last level of the neutral storyline, you have to face Eggman as a robot that is set up like a slot machine. The slot machine has 3 slots with different icons. 3 missiles, 3 bombs, 3 shadows, 3 rings, and 3 egg pawns. I really have to watch how I say pawn because some people may think I'm talking about something else.
Grow up, get your mind out of the gutter, you
The 3 missiles sends missiles that will hit Shadow or Eggman. That all lies on you, the player, to hit them. 3 bombs, probably the annoying one out of all of them, because Eggman releases these bombs. It's actually like a carpet bomb and it's hard to dodge them. But if Shadow hits all 3, the Egg Dealer will trip over those bombs and they will go off. Egg Pawn, Pawn y'all, P-A-W-N, no G, was the one I hardly ever got, probably because it was hard trying to keep up with the Egg Dealer who was going really fast. But the Egg Pawn would occasionally drop out like random number of pawns to slow down Shadow. The 3 shadows give Shadow his fever burst.
What's it called?
It's actually called Shadow Fever, but that sounds like something that gives you bad highs, so I'm just going to call it Fever Burst.
That doesn't sound better.
In Shadow unlocking his Fever Burst, he can see it again on the meter and use it on Egg Dealer. And the 3 rings are kind of self-explanatory if you're a Sonic fan, but those who aren't, it gives Shadows lots of rings. So with the Egg Dealer as a boss fight, it's cool in concept, but what I disliked about this fight was that you're spending the whole time chasing the robot. You have to hit each buttons by curling up into a ball and hope that you get that lucky 3 to hit Eggman. I thought this was absolutely annoying and I just wanted to skip the level entirely and fill in the blanks in my head. Although the boss fight were tedious to play through in the game, the one part I did find to be real cool and creative were the level designs. The designs of these levels are actually pretty cool and vast. I think this is where the developers are most passionate about in the game. What I like about these levels is that each and every one of them are different. It's just not copy and paste, just with a different theme. And in this game, there are levels where Shadow was going damn near everywhere in the world, or outside of the world, or into another dimension. The first level, you're dropped into Westopolis, which is kind of like a parallel to Gotham City, but with an alien invasion going on. Oh, by the way, I'm not going to describe every level in the game, just the ones I played and stood out to me. Cryptic Castle was a level I had love-hate relationship with. It was one of those levels that wasn't straightforward, where I kept getting lost and going back and forth to find my objective.
So annoying.
Going through this part of the game, I did love the design of it, where it was created like light, spooky atmosphere, where the skies were filled with this black, smoky clouds with different castles scattered across the level. The thing that added to its light, spooky feeling was the different pumpkins, in that they were on top of the castle. But playing through this level heavily reminded me of Halloween Town from Kingdom Hearts, the first one that is. Which I may do a video essay on that in the near future. This next level was probably my favorite out the game, which was Cosmic Fall. In this level, you're thrown right into the action where you're on a huge space station that is falling to Earth. There are different parts of the space station that are broke, or like pathways that you have to jump along with some rails that you ride on. And with a level like this, there are plenty of times where I died. I think that's the reason why I enjoyed this level, was simply I was scared to fall. Every time I look down, I see the earth glowing with its blue shine looking right at me.
Shit, that nigga had me scared, but I held my own. Fuck that.
But while I was scared to fall, it was just not that. It was actually the trying to keep Shadow afloat while jumping from platform to platform, knowing you were falling anyway. Levels like this are actually kind of my favorite, where you have to climb or run your way through something as it's falling or being destroyed. In my opinion, levels like this that are actually creative and different from your typical levels, where there isn't a straight linear path, where something similar to this, it does have a different path, asks you, do you want to take the chance? Or do you want to take that chance on living, taking you to a completely different pathway that might get you killed? And the beauty of it all, you don't know what path is going to give you what. Lastly, what makes this mission fun is seeing Vector the crocodile, from Team Chaotic traveling you and helping you out. I'm a big Team Chaotic fan. In this point of the video essay, some of you asking,
The one you liked or didn't like?
oh, I'm so glad you guys asked that question. The level I cannot stand was Circus Park. This level to me could have been scrapped from the whole game and no one had missed it. Now to be fair, when playing the dark missions and normal missions is cool. With the dark missions, you just have to destroy like 20 gun robots. In the normal mission, you just gotta get the Chaos Emerald. That's real easy. It's the hero missions that sucks. If you want Shadow to be the good hero you see him as, you have to collect 400 rings.
Sounds easy enough.
Oh, that part is easy. The hard part is keeping those rings. Throughout the level, you have every opportunity to get some rings, whether it's a bubble holding 5 to 10 rings, collect the rings down a pathway, do the ring of fire, or a little mini game where you hit a ring with a gun turret and it activates a flock of balloons that carries different amount of rings. The part of the level was a nice touch. While you have an opening to get a ring, there's an opening for your enemies to knock their rings right at you. When playing this level, you try your hardest to keep all 400 rings on you as you're trying to reach the very end of the level. Or trying to reach that number, there's always some enemy lurking. Just knowing you carrying all those rings, they attack you. And it doesn't help that gun soldiers are racist and want to shoot you because Shadow's black. The thing that takes your ring faster than anything is Shadow himself. This goes to my point earlier about Shadow going too damn fast that he runs into enemies and spill the rings everywhere. Especially I tried my hardest to slow down, but nope, some Eggman robots just want to shoot me. If I could have avoided any missions, I would have skipped Circus Park entirely. Like Six Flags on a Saturday night, it looks cool, but it ain't a good time. One of the cool aspects of that is incorporated in the game is the morality missions.
That's not what it's called.
That's true, it isn't called that, but the name for these are called the library sequences.
Boring!
I'm not calling it that. For the rest of the video essay, I'm calling it the morality missions because that sounds more interesting. In the story mode of the game, there are different missions that you play through. Each level contains a dark, neutral, and or a hero mission. With a dark mission, they are given by Black Doom. Majority of the missions consist of Shadow destroying something or killing the soldiers from a gun. Which I didn't mind because those mofos were some treacherous bastards. Neutral missions were the simple out the three. You just had to collect the Chaos Emerald that was near the end of the stage. Neutral missions actually play just like your classic Sonic game. You run through the stage, hit some enemies, grab the Chaos Emerald. The hero missions were when you team up with Sonic and his homies to destroy something involving Black Doom, or simply just saving the day. Now with these different missions, weren't innovating or had me replaying them in any type of way, but I appreciate them for having different objectives and a different outcome. Because in the past I played games that give you two choices to either be good or bad, but have the exact same storyline with a slight difference or consequences. Despite the morality missions being on the same level, depending on what you chose to do there will be a different outcome as well as a storyline. To be exact, there are 326 storylines that are possible, which is impressive considering the developers weren't lazy and explored all possibilities on which way the story would go. Now a lot of developers are willing to do that. Now, the question is to be asked, did I play all possible 326 storylines?
Hell no!
If time had allowed me to do so, and if the gameplay was much better, I probably would have did all 326 storylines. In all honesty, this was the part of the game that I believe carried it, not being a disaster of the product, and this part of the game could still work today. And one of the new trends in the gaming industry is that older games are getting a remake. For example, Crash Bandicoot, The Insane Trilogy, Final Fantasy VII, Resident Evil 4, Dead Space, and many more to come. But I had a thought, what about remaking a game that wasn't good or one that got mixed to average reviews? I believe that Shadow the Hedgehog would be perfect for a modern day remake. First thing a developer team should do is not start with the gameplay or the levels or even Shadow himself. You start on giving those aliens a new name. This is 2025. We do not need to call any aliens black creatures. And you know why we're not doing it, little Jamal?
That's racist!
Exactly. The gameplay in this game just needs to be scrapped. I don't mind Shadow carrying a Blicky with a giant anime sword, but somebody has to change the way he moves. I want him to go fast, but not that fast.
No diddy!
Just fast enough to where I'm able to control him and not having to slow down every time to prevent him from falling. The morality missions and levels don't have to change. Maybe they need some tweakness and the levels need to be updated, but they could stay the same. Except Circus Park. Do not add this level to the game. If you can't heed this warning, I'll say it like this.
Leave it behind.
One thing I would change is the dark and gritty tone to the game. I know that's Shadow's whole aesthetic, but there is a better way to do it without making it irritating or cringy. We live in a day where video game music is celebrated now, and with the right composer, they could give Shadow a great score. While we're on the Black Hedgehog himself, damn, even I'm doing it now.
Well, you gotta pay us for that.
That makes sense. I don't know who voiced Shadow in the original game itself, but I thought it would be cool for the remake that Keanu Reeves voiced him.
That's a dumb idea.
It may be, but it would be cool to have John Wick come in and do some voiceovers since he's doing more video game projects and he voices him in the movie. And when you choose to do hero missions and you team up with some Sonic characters or Sonic himself, I think just them being NPCs won't help the modern game at all. I think it would be cool to make the gameplay more fun and interesting if each character had a special ability where it be used to take down the bad guys. Like in one mission your power gauge is full and when you press triangle, Sonic and the Shadow run so fast they create a tornado. Or Knuckles has a berserker moment where he's doing a rapid fire with his fist. Something like that, because in the actual Shadow game, Sonic and everyone else don't really do anything but follow you around and micromanage you. Lastly, there should be every now and then a special level where Shadow gets to ride his motorcycle to defeat a boss or traverse through a collapsing platform. I think that would be cool gameplay. For the longest time, I wanted to play Shadow the Hedgehog, and when I did, it didn't turn out like the game I was expecting. The gameplay felt broken, where I felt I wasn't in full control of Shadow due to him running so damn fast. The story was okay, but from the morality missions having different paths and outcomes carried the plot in an interesting way. The morality missions increased the fun factor by including the dark, neutral, and hero missions within the stages, where when you go back to play it, it wasn't the same objective, making it now feel repetitive. The level designs were cool and fun to explore at times, where I saw the passion by the developers, where I really felt like they did care and wasn't lazy about it. This especially showed in the bosses. The bosses were unique with their own special way of fighting back or getting on your damn nerves, where it was either Eggman, the aliens, or Black Dude himself, they presented a challenge to fighting them. While I love this game like how my 8-year-old self wanted to, I do think a remake is warranted for Shadow the Hedgehog. In the hands of not only the right developers but talented ones as well, a Shadow the Hedgehog game will go hard and will look amazing with today's graphics, along with gameplay that you keep running back to.
Pun intended.
In a modern remake, a developing team can make do some tweaks and some slight changes to the morality missions and the level designs, with the inclusion of Sonic and the other characters being more involved in the gameplay. But above all, in a complete do-over in this game, is to get rid of that stupid name of the aliens. I said my piece. Thank you all for watching another video from us. And this wasn't just another video, this is our first time doing a video essay on a video game. We plan to do more video game essays, especially on older video games to see if they still hold up. But before I depart, you know I always gotta ask you that question. What is your favorite Sonic game of all time? Mine personally is Sonic the Hedgehog 2 because that was the first video game I ever played. 2 is Sonic Advance. That was on a Game Boy Advance. That game was fun. Basically, it was kind of like an updated version of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, just on the Game Boy Advance. And Sonic Heroes, which I would do a video essay in the not in the near future, I should say, but in the future. And my last question, or more so a request, can you all leave a like, subscribe, and comment on this video? Thank you all. We all appreciate it. We see the numbers growing and growing. I know we have been the best in being consistency, but things we're doing some changes, so we're trying to improve, especially in this new year. So thank you all again, and we see you on the next video essay.